All right, so let's pick apart exactly what we learned. There's 4 different things that make up vocal power that you can use when you're doing your elevator pitch, your first impression, and when you're on the phone or you're in person. First, using a low tone, using an authoritative voice tone. So our voices come in a natural range of pitches, right? So when I am with my girlfriends, I tend to talk a lot higher. I'm a little bit more giggly. I go up in my voice tone. That is natural for me. That's just the highest natural end of my voice tone. When we are in business, we have to train our voices to go into the natural lowest level of our voice tone. You can do this with the power of breath. So when we go high, and this is for both men and women, we get nervous and we get out of breath and our vocal cords tense. And so we end up kind of talking like this. I cold called someone a few weeks ago. This was horrible. I hate cold calling, but it's really good practice if you're in sales. So I cold called them, and I was really nervous, and I went, hello? Oh. Because my vocal cords had been sitting there tense, and I made the mistake. I was in my seat. I had not power posed. I was sitting like this as I was calling, and so my cortisol levels were pumping, and it came out, and I sounded like a little girl, and that is because it was the highest of the high. So what I want you to practice doing is taking a breath and using the lowest natural end of your voice tone. So if you just want to say your name for me in the audience, and you can practice at home out loud, take a breath and then stay in that natural end. Sarah, would you mind starting for me? So,
Sarah Edie.
Right. And if you get tense, you can even stop in the middle of your sentence. You can say, if you feel yourself saying Sarah, you can say, Sarah Edie. You can say it on the out breath. If it's really hard for you to get that natural tone, you can actually practice saying things on the out breath. Okay, Sashit, do you want to try it for me?
Sajid Gupta.
Love it. That was really good. And you can hear, that sounds natural. I don't want you to go home and try to go into the lowest end. This is the lowest end of your natural voice tone. Using that breath helps you get it down there. And luckily, if you're at home, you guys are so wonderful. You're practicing out loud. At home, you can practice as much as you want because no one's watching. Okay, Jean-Marie.
Jean-Marie Milkovic.
Wow. Do you hear how much lower that was? So one thing that I was going to tell you, and Jean-Marie sent me some of her videos, which were awesome, is that when you get a little bit nervous, you go up in your voice tone. So just practicing with that breath, taking those pauses and going down. And by the way, in the chat room, you are welcome to call me out. If I go high in my voice tone, remind me to take a breath, and I will go lower. I even have to remind myself to do that. Luckily, muscle memory works for me. The more that you do it, the more you end up staying in that natural voice tone. All right, Meg, okay, deep breath.
Meg Swyback.
There you go. That sounds way more powerful. That was good. And it should feel good. So the reason why we're talking about low voice tone here is because people with high amounts of testosterone, both men and women, they stay in the lower end of their voice tone. Have you ever noticed that men, very attractive, handsome men, they have these deep, raspy voices, right? They have high, even women on, those sexy voices, those raspy, they also have high levels of testosterone because it keeps their voice low. That's confidence. That's what we're hearing. That's what's sexy, is they have that nice resonance in their voice. Okay, Irina, are you ready? Deep breath. Okay, so we're gonna work on with you, I think it's the third one, volume. That's what we're gonna work on. So that was nice and low. Keeping your volume up is the next one, so just keep that in the back of your head. All right, Max, you're so good at voice because you are used to being on stage, but let's try it.
Max Dubois.
Okay, perfect. So before you get on a call, before you launch into your elevator pitch, you wanna take a deep breath and then go into your launch, right? So low voice tone. Next, avoiding the question inflection. So we picked up on this right away. I think that was Irina's first comment, is in that first elevator pitch, we use the question inflection. Here is the question inflection. It's when you say a statement that sounds like you're adding a question mark to the end. It looks like this. My name is Vanessa, right? Is my name Vanessa? When you add that question mark, and unfortunately, movies like Clueless made the question inflection cool for a whole generation of women. That's how Valley Girls, I'm not sure, but we should go. Do you think we should? Right, they always add that. And it's so hard with teen girls. I do a lot of work in high schools pro bono. And that is like my #1 thing that I work on with girls because they are so used to adding that because they think it's feminine and cool, right? So not using the question inflection. In sales, we're going to talk about this later, the biggest nonverbal mistake I see is they use the question inflection on their price. Right? So they say, so how much do you charge? And they say, I charge $500. You are begging someone to negotiate with you. If you use the question inflection, you're literally saying, I'm not sure if I believe this either. Right? You're telling them to not believe you. That's why it's so important to avoid using the question inflection. You want to say it, you don't want to ask it. I'm going to bring you up in a little bit to practice your elevator pitches. And what we're going to do is we're going to nicely, non-judgmentally help each other. If we hear the question inflection, we just nicely say, use the question inflection on your name. Women typically use it on their name, and men typically use it on their business name. I don't know why. Women will often use a question, my name is Vanessa. And men will say, I work at Science of People. I don't know why, but that's typically where they fall. So we're going to listen for that when we're doing elevator pitches. Number three, vocal variance. So this is about adding a varied pace, cadence, and tempo. When we talk about engaging the other person's brain, remember our brains are hungry toddlers. They're very demanding. They like lots of attention. So if you have a script or a pitch that sounds the same, even if it's very authoritative and it's very low, the brain will go to sleep on you. They'll think you're very credible, but they won't hear what you said. So adding in that vocal variance, that expressiveness is what keeps them awake, and it adds in the warmth factor. That's where warmth comes from, is vocal variance and vocal expressiveness. And that's adding in different pacing. So someone said that they heard her pause, more the second time. That is a way of adding vocal variance. Also, emphasizing different words. So I think she said, my company is catering to you, right? Catering to you. Or you could say, my company is catering to you. Or my company is catering to you. Right, I'm saying the same thing, but I'm saying it 3 different ways. That is vocal variance. So my challenge to you at home, especially because you're by yourself, is to read through your elevator pitch at least 10 different ways. Even if you have to add an accent to it. Add an accent to it, because that will get your brain in the habit of saying different words with different emphasis, and that adds warmth to your elevator pitch. Last, emotionality. Okay, so this is where that authenticity comes in. So I want you to look through your elevator pitch, and I want you to think of where you feel most emotion. That can be passion for your business. That can be connection to the person you're speaking with. That can be excitement for what they should do next. That can be wonderment or awe. Where can you add in genuine emotion that you actually feel to show the emotion with your voice? So you're wanting to put emotional emphasis on your words. So I want you to hear the difference. So my name is Vanessa Van Edwards, and I run the Science of People. Okay, so that's one way of saying it. If I want to add emotionality to that, here's how I can add emotionality with my tone. My name is Vanessa Van Edwards, and I run the Science of People. Right? It shows that I am more excited. I love my company. It took forever to start it, and I'm so excited about it. So for me, I'm adding that genuine excitement, and everyone is a little different, right? Excitement for you might sound different, but I want you to tap into the true emotion behind the words, and don't be afraid to use it, to put it into your elevator pitch.